There's no God except Allah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. This is our fourth series in our series of advices to our beloved ones, in which in this video we'll talk about some of the perfected attributes that should be attributed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as we talked about the science of al-aqidah or ilm al-aqidah, that science which is extremely important in terms of the belief. And insha'Allah ta'ala, we wanted to share with you today what some of our illustrious scholars of this ummah have said about these perfected attributes and what they are. And among them is a small little treatise that I would suggest all of our beloved ones get a hold of, which is called Durus al-Tawheed, which was written by the great scholar from Yemen, Muhammad ibn Salim ibn Hafid, who was a great scholar from Hadramaut, Yemen. And insha'Allah ta'ala, he mentioned in this book about the perfected attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that he said that it is obligatory to attribute to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ishruna sifa, 20 attributes. And these are all attributes that are attributes of perfection that are related to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he mentioned the one al-wujud, which is existence, and al-qidam, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not having a beginning, and al-baqa, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala having no end to his existence, wa mukhalafatuhu lil-hawadith, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala being clear of any resemblance to the created things, wa qiyamuhu bin nafsihi, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he is free of any need of anything among his created entities. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is attributed with al-wahdaniyah, which is oneness, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he has no partner in his self or in his attributes or in his actions. And that Allah is attributed with al-qudrah, power. The power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that which relates to all those things whose existence is permissible to exist. And al-irada, Allah's will, and al-ilm, Allah's knowledge, which is not without a beginning or an end. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows everything. And Allah is attributed with al-haya, life, and everlasting life that does not consist of flesh or blood or bones or spirit. Was-sam', and Allah is attributed with hearing, wal-basar, and sight, wal-kalam, and speech. And the kalam of Allah, the speech of Allah, as the Ahl Sunnah said, is without letters or sound. And since Allah is attributed with all those things, Allah is qadiran, powerful, wa muridan, willing, wa aliman, knowing, wa hayyan, alive, sami'an, hearing, basiran, seeing, wa mutakalliman, and speaking. These 20 attributes are mentioned by the scholars of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah to tell us about these perfected attributes that we must know about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us firm in knowing these attributes of Allah, and to be clear of attributing their opposites to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
It's your shield and it's your sword. On earth there are no better words. Invoking your gracious